Well, state schools were closed yesterday by what the Education Union calls the biggest teachers' strike in Victoria's history. In opposition, the coalition promised to make Victorian teachers the best paid in the country. But now in power, the Baillieu government will instead introduce the first performance-based pay rate in Australia. And as Cheryl Hall reports, there's concern that system has failed elsewhere.
Look, I can't get in because there's been a fantastic turnout and every seat in the House is absolutely full.
So you couldn't get in today?
No, which is actually disappointing in one way, but fantastic that so many teachers have made an effort to come in and show their support. There's thousands upon thousands of teachers who are really angry, frustrated and want to be heard.
Hisense Arena was not big enough to hold the thousands of teachers who turned out yesterday, some for the first time.
First rally, yeah, very first rally, so I didn't really know what to expect, but yeah, it's pretty impressive to come out and see such a big turnout.
Every 4 years, teachers fight for a pay rise, but this year the coalition's promises were ringing in their ears.
Not the worst paid, the best paid teachers in Australia.
We see no reason why they should not be paid the highest in the nation.
A lot of people heard that, thought awesome. The promise was all teachers to be the best paid in Australia. At the moment, the Liberal is now saying best teachers to receive best pay in Australia. That wasn't the promise they came to the table with, wasn't the promise we're going to accept.
I think it's outraged people. It was a good promise when they made it. I mean, it obviously means nothing, and I certainly won't be voting for them at the next election as a result of it, so I hope many other people feel the same. You can't take them at their word.
The government is offering only a 2.5% wage rise to all teachers, but the most high-performing teachers will be able to apply for unprecedented bonuses.
We wanted to get the best possible result for teachers, and we are seeking to do that and provide 70% of teachers with the opportunity for a performance bonus over and above the 2.5%, which is our fundamental wages policy. And we think that is a fair and reasonable offer, and not only that, it will go to assist building capacity in our teaching profession.
When the Premier promised every Victorian teacher that they would be the highest paid in the nation, he misled them.
As I said before, we have an offer on the table which would see all teachers receive 2.5% plus any productivity improvements, Mr Speaker. 80% of Victorian teachers would continue to progress every year to additional salary categories, Mr Speaker. That is a fair, reasonable and responsible offer in the circumstances. That's what Victorians expect us to deliver, Mr Speaker.
Order.
That is what the government will deliver, Mr Speaker, and we urge Victorian teachers to come back to the negotiating table.
Sydney University professor Robin Ewing has compared the pay of Victorian teachers with other states and says they're similar. But she says a performance bonus system has not been tried in Australia before.
That's similar to some systems that have been trialled overseas without very much success. My feeling is that we need to learn from the lessons that have been learned overseas and think about teaching as a collaborative and collegial activity, and that just rewarding some teachers is not necessarily going to improve what's happening in the profession.
It's an opinion shared by Victorian teachers who turned out to protest yesterday.
I'm surrounded by extremely highly performing staff in my school and all the small schools that I work with. Would we all be recognised, do we need to choose?
To propose things like performance pay actually does not even have any understanding of how teachers actually work. It's not a competitive environment. We work together.
And it's a dispute that looks set to drag on. So you think there'll be more strikes?
Unfortunately, I think so. I think there's going to be, only because Mr Baillieu is not even prepared to listen to what we're saying.
As long as it takes. Could take months. The nurses showed us, they were fighting 8 months, 9 months. We'll fight for as long as it takes to make sure that we get the money that we deserve.
It's a bit disappointing and a bit of a slap in the face that the about turnaround. Like, if we did that to our kids in our grade, they'd lynch mob us. So I think that the government need to set the example.
So what's your sign say here?
Little Ted, big liar.
Because he is.
Yeah, that's right.